Hello, friends. Welcome to Talking with Famous People. Hello, friends. Welcome to Talking with Famous People. I'm host Eric. This is Rachel. And our topic today is subatomic Myah and other science sounds. So if you'd like to chime in on this topic, please do. It's if you want to get really into science sounds, you could add the word quantum to something. Booyah.
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 I wonder if that ends up being a language for another sea creature, and then you end up sending signals without even knowing it, like booyah, and maybe Myah too.
I like the idea of booyah as a question. I'll only use it as a question. Booyah?
Let's see.
It's so
fish wiggles or something.
well, because typically booyah is used like this. Booyah! With authority, you might say.
Booyah!
But I'm suggesting if you only use it as a question, well, it makes it kind of difficult, I guess. I guess you're always asking somebody else if it's booyah. It's lovely to see you as well, Mrs. Mom. To see your blue letters and your white letters and your circle.
Glad you're here.
It sounds like, do you get it? Well, another such word is, go ahead, sorry.
I always associate booyah with booyah,
Right.
People go nuts when they say booyah.
Hingle McCringleberry doing his pelvic thrust.
Yeah.
Is sort of visually representing booyah.
Booyah, yes.
So what is subatomic Myah? Well, it's not always the case that Myah rides about you in wave form. That's normal Myah. But sometimes you can get really small and you get down to subatomic Myah. Subatomic Myah will get into your pores, so you have to watch out for that. It'll clog your pores and it'll give you blackheads.
I had my first blackhead since I was 13 on this pimple. I totally manifested that. Thank you, Winston's mom. I got it when I returned another dress at Zara's. And thank you for the best booyah ever.
Well, what gave me nightmares? Going to the mall? A little bit. It was not fun, really, but we toughed it out.
Can I tell you, Sunday was less crowded than, when did I go on? Tuesday? I couldn't believe it. I was Zara was well, maybe they have more employees, so there's more cash registers open.
Will subatomic Myah give you nightmares about the mall? Yes.
Yes.
Subatomic Myah could give you nightmares about the mall. We went to Zara's. Well, we've got a lot of those kind of fancy stores at the Arcadia Mall. There was also H&M we went to. Was that the other ones?
Yeah, H&M. I'm not gonna lie. Just because I'm a larger girl, I like H&M better because their sizes run larger, and I think that's great. Right now, this dress that I'm wearing is an extra large, and I'm size, I think, 12 or 14. So
this is one of the ways that subatomic Myah can spread out into the universe and cause problems. Right now, what you see is this caused a war against trees in a Minecraft server. Apparently, everybody's cutting down all the trees. Personally, I exclusively shop for myself at Wet Seal. That's where all the cutest clothes are.
I would never fit into their clothes. I was 100 pounds and I couldn't fit into their clothes. My mom didn't like me shopping there either. Zara's great. Zara is I love this dress. I'm so glad it fits me. I was just disappointed that the try-on room was closed because I would have probably bought something from there if I was able to try it on, but
I met my daughter's new boy Myah today.
yes.
I would call him her boy Myah because I don't
That's
know.
how.
I don't know what exactly he is.
And that's.
He is a boy.
Yes, he's a boy. I think, a young man.
Yeah, he's a young man. I mean, he's male. What I mean by boy,
Oh.
opposed to girl, right?
Yes.
So, regardless, my guess, just from the very brief interaction I had with him, I'm thinking probably INTP, but I didn't really engage with him very much. I was mostly Delilah was being Delilah, which means she was telling story and I was listening. And
you talked the most. Delilah talked the most. Then you second. Then me. Then him. I think he's an INTP.
Right. Well, he was the newcomer to the group as well.
True.
In the sense that the three of us all knew each other. But I was very glad to see him. He's a beardy fellow like me. He's got a big beard. He's obviously a lot younger than me.
Clean cut.
Clean cut. He's in his early. He's much more clean cut than me. He's in his early 20s or mid 20s or late 20s or something. I don't know. He's in his 20s, and he's got a good job and a car and a house and stuff like that. So that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes Myah has false information that people have interpreted and spread that information onto other people. It's not necessarily false. Myah can stem from entirely true but unfortunate realities.
Yeah, like Zara's changing room being closed. That's definitely a Myah.
Right.
That's Myah.
The thing is, for me, what I've determined is that my mood comes first, and then my relationship to the Myah will be according to my mood. So if my mood is high, I'm feeling good, I've had lots of sleep, I've had food, I've had drink, I'm zizzing with zazz, then I won't really notice minor Myahs. Minor Myahs just seem like they don't even bother me. I don't notice them. Medium Myahs I'll experience more like minor Myahs. The inner Myah is highly sensitive to mood swings. Yes. Is Myah anything you want it to be? Well, not subatomic Myah. Subatomic Myah cannot be non-subatomic Myah. In other words, it can't be atomic or greater Myah.
I have a question. Do the things you feel from your past lives carry over into your new? Because, you have Myahs. And a lot of stereotypes say that guys don't have Myahs. So is that because in your past life you're a woman? You think that kind of trickled over?
Maybe. I don't know.
Cool.
Or who knows?
Yeah.
I definitely have my inner woman menstruates once a month. And Rachel and I recently synced our cycles.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
We both were we're on our periods. I don't buy petite anymore, Winston's mom, because I am no longer considered petite for your average girl. I'm thick. Yes. Yes.
Voluptuous.
Yes, I'm Rubenesque or whatever.
Hardly.
Thank you.
Okay.
But sizes make me. I've gone up to double digits.
I don't care what the dress sizes say.
Thank you.
Myahs are also versatile, as all Myahs can Myah upon, but it isn't the case that all Myahs can Myah upon all Myahs. That's true. Now, it should be noted that the plural of Myah is Myahity. So if you have multiple Myahs, you've got Myah, Myahity, and assorted Myahdities. then so there's two variants of plural. There's the singular variant and the plural variant of plural.
Oh, I have a crazy theory.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of like past lives, so like I feel like I was like John Lennon in my past life because he died in 80 and I was born in 85, and my numerology. Well, I'm like definitely cooler than him because I would never do like any of the shitty things he's done. But my numerology is exactly the same as his. It's crazy.
And it's known to take exactly 5 years for a soul to process from death
That's
to
what I
rebirth.
was thinking.
Yeah, that's a standard period of time.
Fucking NI. Who says that shit except for an NI Dom?
Oh, Rachel, take it easy on yourself, for Christ's sake. Could Myah be a silver unicorn, but kind of looks like a giant worm with legs and a stick stuck to its head? Less than 1% of the time, it is. But yeah, occasionally.
I'm 5'2", Darwin from IKEA. You know what's funny? Until probably the sixth grade, I was one of the tallest kids in my class. Then I just stopped growing.
I had no idea
long,
you were.
lanky legs.
For some reason, I thought you were taller than that.
No, I'm 5'2".
See,
I mean, maybe I've grown.
well, the thing is, to me, everybody looks shorter than me, and so I don't really think about it at all.
Zala is tall. She has long legs. She's got a very feminine body. Thanks, Darwin.
Skygear, I like the firmness with which you affirm your tautology. Myah is Myah. Would you be good at answering set theory questions? Possibly. It depends how deep into the symbology you go, I guess. I've never formally studied it. It is our favorite duong.
Yeah, it is. A beautiful duong.
Pants are too long for me. Sometimes petite fish jet bright, other times look cropped. Well, I have the same problem. I try to get petite. This is petite. And it's a little big on me. Next time I'm going to get extra petite. But then sometimes I get extra petite and it's like a little washcloth.
Yeah, it's like a baby. Yeah.
So the sizes are wildly variant.
Under boob.
Yeah, I don't like showing my under boob that much.
No.
Although I do want a pair of the shorts that those ring girls were wearing the other night in the boxing game.
Oh yeah, the ones that are underwear.
I think I'd look good in those shorts.
You would.
Yeah.
You have nice buns. You have a swimmer's body. And a runner's body at the same time.
Has stolen my cheese police and even uses a badge on his thumbnail. He's not well. He's not clever, however. I don't know. Well, does X being a subset of M imply X being an element of M?
That's in some.
No. It doesn't.
I feel really bad shaking Elliot's hand because they were like sticky.
Your hands?
Yeah.
Oh.
I felt so embarrassed. I was like, I wanted to say right after, like, I'm so sorry that my hands are sticky. But Delilah started talking before I could say anything.
Sleepy Rachel, what have you and Rachel watched lately? We've been watching
Ipopo.
We've been watching Hajime no Ippo.
Hajime no Ippo, yes.
The second
season.
Hello. Hi, Mr. Strauss. All right, what's going on?
It's a pretty big step in the community of MBTI if Marty is admitting that he's not an INFJ. So, what? One small step for Marty, one huge step for mankind. LOL, who's Marty? I used to be like that too, Sky Gear. He's the guy who Eric type policed. And he said that he was an INFJ and he like talked shit about host Eric. And host Eric typed pleased him as an ESFP. Thank you, Fatima Ash Raff. This is from Zara. It was a lucky buy, you know? Like sometimes you get stuff from there and it's too small. This is an extra large and I'm like really happy that I got it. It's going to be something that I wear a lot. I appreciate your comment. I think he's going to have his niche still. I think people are still going to watch him. ESFPs have a lot of friends. Oh. I don't know what's going on with Asha Deep. We haven't talked about that name in a while, honestly. Eric's talking to his client right now. School's almost over. No, Marty is not Asha Deep, I believe. I believe they're two different people. I know, Sky Gear. The first day that I met Eric, he told me, he was like, there are people who hate me and I have no idea why. So he's like, expect that. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's strange. Well, yeah, they're literally all the same. I mean, well, I don't know, actually. Like, I don't know what type they are. That's a good question, Dumb Genius. Is Ashley Myah, though? I'd say he's half Myah. I don't know Ashley Deep enough. Like, I haven't watched enough of his stuff to know that he's, like, totally Myah, but I'm pretty sure he's Myah. So bumper shoot means umbrella in England, Sky Gear? The Great Britain? Bumper shoot. Two different people on the surface. Marty is a pale, thin white man, while Prince is a young black man. They both are rather unpleasant, odd people. Weston's mom, can I tell you a fact that like makes me happy? It's just like a fantasy, like a dream. This is like a pink cloud dream I have. So, my mom is an ESTJ and my dad's an ENFP. They were in an socionics activity relationship for over 30 years. They just divorced. Now, my dad is an ENFP, and I do believe that the best type for an ENFP is an INTJ. And also, the INTJ is, I believe, supervisor of ENFP. So, like, and my mom needs some supervising, let me tell you. So that's my pink cloud dream. And everyone's different, Swift
Basically,
Eagle.
she likes you,
Two sides, the same coin.
and that's formally part of her system.
Yeah, that's fine. And with her actually that's what she does. She doesn't come like how many mistakes you have. It's her perception of how well you're doing.
Right, so she's avoided being accountable all this time, right?
Right, yes.
And I've been telling you all this time that you need to
Myah is like a way of life.
accountable to actually hold them accountable.
Hey, Jennifer. We're doing well, thanks. We had a busy day already.
I think that she's as bad as I was naive.
Yeah, it's true, Darwin from IKEA. INTJs are really great. ENFP. ENFPs do say that.
You have invested
Kava. I've never had
so
Kava.
much
Bozo the
time
Clown.
into playing.
I was really reflecting on this relationship because I want my dad to be happy. And my mom is still very much in charge of his life. Like, he's separated himself a lot, but she still calls a lot of the shots. And, like, that's why, I mean, if an INTJ were in his life, I think the INTJ would be like, this, what your ex-wife is saying is bullshit. Like, you don't need to follow those rules. You're not married to her anymore. And I think he needs to hear that. And I think an INTJ would be able to actually empower the ENFP to stand up for itself. So I like the combination of it's a pink cloud dream again of an INTJ and an ENFP who have an ex-wife who's an ESTJ who needs to she needs someone to ground her. That's nice, Jennifer. My dad he could use some focus, he's a good guy, he has a good heart, and he would make a good partner for someone. It's just that he has been under my mom's thumb for a lot of years. So yeah. You wouldn't lose me, Winston's mom. I'm not like that at all. That's why it's a pink cloud dream. It's nothing. I would like to introduce my dad to you just because I think it would be fun. Like you said, as friends. He says he's dating around. He doesn't like to be alone. So I personally think that he should just think about being single for a while. Also, or just making friends. Yeah, so my mom is an ESTJ. So INFJ supervises ESTJ, and my dad is an ENFP. So if my dad were to find an INTJ, he would have someone in his life who would supervise the ESTJ and kind of keep my mom in line through my dad. The INTJ would be like, why are you taking the shit from this woman who's your ex-wife? She doesn't have to be in your life like that anymore. So that's pink cloud dream. We're 17X. We are in Arcadia, Los Angeles County. Arcadia, California. It's beautiful here. A beautiful Duang. I believe that intuitive should not mix with sensors to preserve their kind and thrive. That's the Kiersey. David Kiersey says that intuitives need to be with intuitives. That's what Kiersey says. I think there's some middle ground though, where there's gray area. So there are some types that can get along according to, cognitive functions that can get along better, like just in general, than others. But I tend to think that, I don't know. I think you need a mix of the two, really. You need some sense. I know intuitive needs some sensors in their life to keep the daily stuff going. You had your experiences, Fatima Ashraf. ISTJs fascinate me. I don't know many of them. I know like 3, maybe total, two. And they're both ISTJs can be very daring. I never knew, and in not an intuitive. I never knew that an introvert can be so daring, but ISTJs are very daring. They like the need for speed. People are people, but like we're all humans having this experience, but we're all different in certain ways to learn how to get along with each other. I don't know, Taha Bauduama. I do much better when I have friends who are sensors. Like when I have friends who are sensors, it's great because like when I have sensor friends, they help me integrate myself into the material, physical world. And they like to go out a lot. And there's they'll have a lot of stories about like their daily life and stuff. And I love that. But when I'm in a relationship, I'm a very metaphysical person. Like I can literally spend my whole day listening to YouTube, playing Mario on my phone, and reading articles on my phone. Like, and a lot of people in general need a little bit more than that. So it's like I need to be in a relationship with someone who's intuitive and metaphysical as well, like Eric, ENTP, because he understands that what it's like to be a metaphysical type. It's really important.
You have a whole year of saying that and being wrong and saying a whole year so far saying that over and over, same thing over and over again.
I don't think that ISTJs are, well, they're kind of, Swift's ego is funny. Cameron, who comes over, our friend, is an ISTJ, and he says that he's picky. He knows that he's picky and choosy with things. So I think they're particular. I don't know about control freak, but definitely particular. And also very daring. Like I'm happy when we go scooting together, but I can tell that he kind of hangs back. He would go faster, but he hangs back because I'm slow. I like to be careful because I'm accident prone. I like to be careful when it comes to driving. Kiersey writes, the Guardians want a helpmate. The idealists want a soulmate. The rationals want a mindmate, while the artisans want a playmate or probably a Playboy bunny serving cocktails. You know what's interesting with this, Mom? Do you know anything about oh God, what's her name? Gloria Steinem. Gloria Steinem did a whole undercover expose on Playboy. I knew she was a Playboy bunny, but I did not know that she was actually at a newspaper, and she was doing well at the newspaper. And so she had heard that these girls have to go under, like, they have to take these tests and have to go under certain, like, have a certain weight and serve a certain way, and never have a relationship with the person who works there unless they have a Playboy Bunny key. So she hears all this and she's like, I want to see, like, what this is all about. So she goes undercover and she learns all the ins and outs and all the just shady stuff that was going on in Playboy, the, like, restaurant or, like, the club. And Hugh Hefner read the article and he changed a lot of things. Like, you don't get, one of the rules was that if you mess up, like if your tail is dirty or if your ears are on crooked, you get docked pay. So she changed that. Hugh Hefner, he was like, no, I'm going to change that. So he did. It was really interesting. Wow, you saw the bunny dip? That's so crazy. I would feel like a boy too. I don't know how they met that in heels. And she said, Gloria Steinem said that the corset was just, like, so tight and you had to, like, be certain measurements. And she, like, barely made it. She was like, okay. They, like, were like, okay, you can come in. You're not, like, what up, New Groove? How you doing? I know that I could be a hostess at Playboy Bunny, at Playboy, but I don't think that I could be a waitress. Definitely not. I've been a waitress before and I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. Good. I'm glad you're chilling. We're chilling here too. We just got some new weed, and it's nice because, you know, after a while smoking the same kind of weed, you kind of get used to it. So you don't feel the effects as much as you do as the first time that you, like, smoke it. So we got some new weed to kind of mix things up, and it's really yummy stuff. We're waiting for a pair of shoes for my dress to come in. It said that they're going to be shipped today by UPS. So that's exciting. I didn't think they were going to come until the 30th, so it's pretty cool. I have never done DMT, and I do not have plans on taking DMT, New Groove. I have only tried marijuana and cocaine. I tried once and I hated it. I hated it so much. The next day I had such a bad headache and my, like, sinuses felt like shit. I was like, why do people put themselves through this stuff? But, you know, whatever. To each their own, really. You know, I don't judge people. I don't really think I want to. My bipolar is dormant right now. Like, I'm under medication. I don't think I would want to like, take a chance on DMT and then, like, flip out and, like, go crazy and have people like, scared of me. I don't want that. Hey, talk about the most bullied type, INFP or INTP in college. Wow. See, I don't even know. I don't think I even met any INFPs or INTPs in college. In college, I met a lot of sensors. Here comes host Eric.
Boy, oh boy. There goes the bong.
Thank you.
Yeah, she does. I agree with you, INTJ. I don't think she disagrees with that either.
No, that's exactly what I was explaining to them.
So mostly she just does her meds and smokes weed.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly fine.
It doesn't drink.
This teacher.
Did he get a grade back yet?
Yeah, well, he got a B on this short story. That's been a continual conversation, difficulty between me and them because it was the best shape it was in was the first shape it was in before she started telling him to do a series of different things to it that were arbitrary for no reason that she didn't articulate in the first place. A bunch of just fucking bullshit that made it worse, It's like you can't force art. I keep trying to explain this to Jeffrey's mom. You can't teach writing either. You can't teach art. Writing is an art form. You can show people things if somebody wants to learn from you certain things and they know what they want to learn from you specifically, you might be able to teach them that. Well, so it's like, I trying to explain to the mom all year, look, you keep trying to play her game, but her game is fundamentally bad. You need to stop the game that you're playing. You're never going, she's cheating. It's a cheating game that she's going to win no matter what you do if you let her continue playing it without comment. It's like, you can't just let yourself continue to be abused and expect things to change. So, but of course, Jeffrey's mom wants to placate. She wants to, humor or otherwise pander to the teacher's unreasonable demands rather than tell host Eric to come be their education advocate and ream it. The woman's a horrible person. Horrible person. Obviously an ENFP. But I'm not saying all ENFPs are like that. But this thing about ENFP teachers have about cheating and stuff. Like I remember there was an ENFP debate coach, speech coach really, but she had debaters and she thought it was cheating for the coaches to come up with cases for them. It's like, are you insane? Why do you think my students are so much better than yours? Because I don't think they can do the coach's work as well as the debater's work, which you seem to think. They've got plenty of their own work to do. Why would I make them do my work too? She didn't see it like that. She saw it as like, well, students should redo all their own ideas and all their own research. Well, then they just be stupid kids arguing stupidly and not learning anything. You don't learn by just doing things dumb. It's like,
yeah.
It's like saying, well, yeah, the kids should play football, but there can't be a coach. The kids have to call their own plays. They have to make up their own plays from scratch. They shouldn't research on them. This is like ENFP teacher bullshit, right? Assuming everybody is their frame of reference, extroverted intuition is how you use ideas, and then being FI, thinking that their way is the best.
Most of the fun, I actually don't play Among Us. I don't know why.
Because it's boring.
I usually play. I'm a big fan of Nintendo. I was a Nintendo kid growing up, so like basically if you have Nintendo, I'll play with you. But anything else, I'm like kind of a retard.
Does your soul have compartmentalized communication aside from your cognition? I don't know. That sounds a lot like subatomic Myah. I have no idea what that would mean. Does cognition have to do anything to do with spirituality? Sure. I think that I mean, obviously, Rachel is much more inclined towards holistic, magical thinking frames of reference than I am, but
Yeah.
I enjoy them sort of as fun play. Sometimes I forget that she really can be, her mood can be changed by some things she reads on the internet about these numbers or these whatevers, and so
You know what's been changing for me?
what?
So I'm gonna get woo woo and say the age of Aquarius has been kind to me because, one, I know that I have reached. I'm like so good at astrology now. Like I don't even need to get readings done, but I did. And the last time I got it done, the person was like, "You have such a good chart," and I was like, "Yay!" Like. I'm like, finally, like people are being nice about birth charts or like whatever.
So it's like Rachel is obviously subject to subatomic Myah, is what I'm saying. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. We are all subject to our own subatomic Myah. Okay, subatomic Myah is undefined. It's mystical. it goes in through the nose and makes your eyes sparkle a little bit.
Yeah, it really does. Okay, the fact that our biorhythms are 98.4% or something, that little subatomic Myah, makes me so happy. Like, I think that is so...
And, Rachel, I got to say, of all the things that of all the magical thinking stuff we've looked at, that biorhythms thing seems strikingly correct about us. We do tend to be consistently in the same amount of energy level. On a given day. Yeah. We tend to both feel either cheery or not so cheery. I think Rachel's probably somewhat responsive to my mood based on her FE tool function. Mm-hmm. And, I'm responsive to her mood based on my FE third slot, which is to say, I tend to feel guilty when she feels down. And when I feel down,
guilty when you feel down too. Same, totally.
So,
no, yes, you feel this. Koala is right. I am a Capricorn. Aquarius is ruled under two planets. The original, before they added Uranus, before they added Neptune and Pluto, it was Saturn. Saturn was the ruler of Aquarius. So, yeah. And then in modern times, it's under the rulership of Saturn and Uranus, Aquarius. So,
what's interesting? I'm thinking right now that I'm participating in this video. So, yesterday, I was thinking to myself, I don't think I said it to you, but I was sitting in the bathroom, I was brushing my teeth, and I was thinking, man, if people could watch me and Rachel be together when we're not on camera, there is no chance in hell anybody would ever think she's an extrovert. Zero chance. No. She is as quiet as a titmouse.
You would be very bored.
If I'm not initiating conversation and then engaging about a topic, then we're generally sitting together in silence. And she's just so much of a receiver in terms of her approach. But here, when I walk out of the room, she's a tool function, and she can hang carrying the stream, and she's got. Am I always this chatty? No. Like I said, a lot of times Rachel and I walk around or sit together in silence, mostly because in general, I find myself kind of running out of things to say. I consider myself not especially chatty at the moment. In fact, I wanted to make a live stream because we were watching an old live stream, and just for a second, and maybe one of the live streams that I'm watching an old live stream.
Me too, actually.
So, but at the moment I feel chatty-ish, I guess. I don't know. I feel
I
like
feel pretty chatty.
we've gotten some things done this morning.
Darwin from IKEA, I can fully say that I enjoy the silences too. I used to always, this is Effie Tool, I believe. I used to always fill in the gaps of silence. Always. Like, I must have, like, probably Effie'd a little bit too much sometimes with people. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, like, I would be so uncomfortable with silences that I would have to think about, like, something that we would talk about. But I don't feel that way with us. It's so natural. I don't even feel it.
Yeah. Well, I think the other part of the reason is a lot of times when we're silent, I think she reads me as safely lost in my head.
Mm-hmm.
In other words,
And I am too.
which liberates her to get lost in her head rather than worrying about me paying attention to her, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like we'll sit in silence. We're probably both thinking our own things. Then sometimes I'll say, have you ever wondered why I'm yes and yeah and not yeah? Something like that.
My topics lately have been the wedding. So I'll be like, do you think Myah, like, if I wear Myah, like, that'll be okay?
Right. As soon as she started saying things about like what she's gonna wear, I just sort of go. Pew, pew.
You handle it great, though. You always tell me I look great, and that's what you're supposed to do.
You look fantastic.
Yeah.
Your choices are perfect.
Thank you.
And yeah.
No, you do give me nice compliments. I have to say, you actually really do. I enjoy your humoring me.
Thanks, darling.
You're welcome.
I am really also looking forward to going to this wedding and also to the meetup the next day.
Yeah,
in
me
Indianapolis.
too.
I'm excited about
I
that.
think I'm gonna wear this dress. I'm thinking about wearing this dress for the meetup. It's just so summery.
And what else is going on? I don't know. We went out to see Delilah and her boyfriend this morning, like I started to say.
Yeah.
Not her boyfriend, her boy Myah.
It's nice that we were able to meet her boy Myah. That doesn't usually happen in Myah situations.
Well, I mean, once you meet a boy Myah, then he elevates from this guy I hang out with to a boy Myah. And the next step after that, you know, it could be boy pal, could grow into boy amigo, and eventually all the way into boyfriend. Who knows?
Who knows? I think it's nice because she gets to use the 2 in her. You know, she's definitely 2. I think she's definitely 2 SX.
Why do ENTPs rage so hard? Sometimes a bit annoying as an INFP. I mean, what can I say? With the charity, the charity. Where did the charity come from? I'm the charity.
Koala, my rising is Libra and my moon. Okay, my rising is in Libra, my moon is in Sagittarius, and my sun is in Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn sun, Sagittarius moon, Libra rising.
New group, we will definitely shoot some interviews and stream during the meetup. Our TI trickster is just dumb. The TI trickster means 7th. If so, the answer is no, but they run afoul of my values a lot. So in other words, I like things to be fair, to make sense, to be reasonable, to be justified, you know? I like things to meet my standards of argumentation before being done. So what makes me mad? Well, masks make me mad, you know?
Me too.
It annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah.
As somebody who never watches their masks. I don't like the smell of it. It's just awful. So the thing is, I was going to make a video this morning that said only poor people wear masks, because increasingly that's how it is. It's just a stratification thing. If you watch on sports on TV, you see the coaches wear chin masks as a gesture, and that depending on where you are, there's a whole stadium full of people not wearing masks or nobody at all.
Yeah. We were watching the Tampa Bay, Florida ice skating hockey game last night, and seats were full, and most people were not wearing masks. It was so nice to see. I felt like I was like watching regular TV again.
Good for you, the South. Good
Yeah,
for you.
Good for you, the South. Seriously.
So yeah, they make me mad. Unfairness makes me mad. Like things that don't make sense make me mad. I explained why we shouldn't do all this stupid bullshit from the very get-go, and nobody listened to me. That makes me mad. When I was absolutely right, 100%, and nobody listened to me, that makes me mad. When the words I were saying could have prevented all this bullshit, but nobody listened to me, that makes me mad. You know, it's like all you have to do is listen to me and agree with the fact that things have to be justified adequately before we do them, right? As long as things have to be justified adequately before we do them, then we don't do stupid shit. But no, fear is plenty adequate justification for the whole world throwing a little conniption fit.
And yes, it's conniption fit. A lot of people think shit.
Moral relativism is bad, bad, bad. It's not just moral relativism. It's complete relativism. It's utilitarianism. It's like, well, this is scary, so I'll go all the laws. Like today we went through McDonald's. What did we get? We both got handed a straw with our drink. What happened to California's straw law, where we were not supposed to have straws? I guess it was decided that COVID overwhelms every other law, right? What happened? For a while, the plastic bag law was gone. Then it's just now it's back, and it's like there were no enforcement of overnight parking regulations for a full year in Arcadia. Why? Well, because of COVID. But why? But why does COVID make it so that you can't enforce overnight parking restrictions? Well, people might have to hunker down where they are. Well, can't they park in the driveway? Yeah. It's the absolute arbitrary, unjustified, fear-based, just shit throwing that drives me fucking crazy.
Darwin from IKEA. Eric is a Gemini moon. That's cool that you're Libra rising, and I like Libra sun. Libra sun has always been one of my favorites.
Back when I was a Vietnamese whore, they used to call me Gemini Poon. Right, a night curfew. Right, we had that too for a while.
Yeah, we did.
There was a curfew at night. Why? Is it because COVID's more dangerous at night? Is it a mugger or something? It makes no fucking sense. Is exactly right.
And then you have this like 6 feet rule, right? But then you go into the shopping. In particular, you go food shopping into the supermarket, and there's people who are like bumping up against each other.
It's this brilliant insight. We want to avoid concentrated crowds, so let's close most of the places so that all the crowds concentrate in the few places that are open. I mean, No, we had it over COVID for a while. For I don't know, like a week or something. It made absolutely no sense. COVID takes a break inside of airplanes as well, but not on city buses. Of course, the poor have to wear a mask on public transportation. You know.
Oh my gosh. What if they can barely afford those masks?
Well, I mean, it's like when we were at Palm Desert, right? We were staying in a condo. The golf course of the condo was open. The public golf course was shut down because of COVID.
Yep.
So the rich people can golf, but the poor people can't golf. That's the takeaway from COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's stratify the rich and the poor. Let's stratify important people and unimportant people. Let's, in fact, officially make a classification designating a majority of people non-essential.
Wow.
Wow.
That's the guts of it.
It's insane. It's all insane. It was insane from the get-go. I said so from the get-go. I had not one speck of belief in this nonsense in the beginning. Not that I didn't believe it was a real disease vector. I was just pointing out that the fatality rates they were listing at the beginning at 4% were completely bullshit. That it was actually way less than 1% for obvious reasons, just by critiquing the methodology of data gathering. That's all it took for me to see that obvious truth that came out many months later.
XI, that's what I read somewhere else, that places were getting rid of masks. So in XI says, I live in McLean, VA. We're still wearing masks here. I think that ends for us on May 28th. There are places that you don't have it anymore.
It's not Marxist, new group. It's just plain stupid. It's just fear-based stupidity. I mean, sure, it predicates its notion on a communitarian worldview that says individuals and the onus upon individuals ought to be forgotten about entirely when we're scared. Sure, it predicates its Myah on that Myah, but the point is, that doesn't make it Marxist. It just makes it stupid. It has something in common with the stupidity of Marxism, perhaps, but it's not Marxist. It's just plain stupid. Let's not afford it any other credit beyond that. I'm happy to see there's finally some backlash. For a long time, I was a lone voice in the wilderness. How you doing, Lijo?
Hi, Lijo.
You know, I got to put your name next to your number on my phone. The reason it took me a while to respond to your text is because all I saw was the beginning of the message. I saw the video. I was just like, I don't even want to read this. I don't know who this is from. I do not want to read this text. I'll just read it some other day after I've had some more sleep, you know? And then I finally looked at it yesterday or something. I was like, oh, it's from Elijah. I didn't know who it was. I just thought it was somebody hammering me. You know, sometimes you occasionally get people just text you shit and hammering me.
True.
I was like, do you think it's okay to enforce stuff like this if it actually does make sense? Sure. So, Tahabi, if in fact we had airborne Ebola, okay, that had a fatality rate of 50% and kill people in the most horrific ways imaginable, then a certain amount of authoritarianism is called for and maintains very strict quarantines. Absolutely. So in other words, I am a pragmatist. I'm not a dogmatist. I don't have singular overarching frames of reference that always answer every question, because that's totalizing. And what happens when you totalize an ideology? It becomes totalitarian, regardless of whether that's individualism or communitarianism or anything else. The bottom line, though, is my philosophy is fundamentally rooted in things that make good sense, and individualism makes much more sense than communitarianism because there aren't any individuals who are smart enough to tell all the other individuals what to do, right? I am, but what does that mean? It means I don't tell everybody what to do. I tell everybody how we shouldn't be able to tell people what to do about this or that or the other thing, and we should about this and that, and I manage things carefully. You know, freedom does not always win in my philosophy. No, the maintenance of a civil society does. When individual freedom becomes when people take too much liberty with individual freedom, then it starts to seriously undermine the well-being of society. Then it becomes a problem. For example, homeless encampments are an example of individual freedom that is taking advantage of the public property that is not intended to be taken over by individuals, right? It's the public property. The sidewalks are not intended to be taken over by people camping in tents. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the homeless, but I have an excellent answer for that. It's called Homeless Town. It's a town in the middle of nowhere in America where all the homeless services are. They're all federal government, and all municipalities are prohibited from even providing any homeless services, so that there's not this horrible thing that we have now, which is municipalities have been told they can't forcibly move the homeless from camping on the sidewalks unless they have a place for them to go. But as soon as they build homeless housing, it just attracts more homeless people. The thing is, it's an issue that has to be federalized, right? It needs to be federalized because, yes, they'll have a home in Homeless Town. They won't be homeless in Homeless Town. It'll just be called Homeless Town for colorful reasons. Because it's a colorful name. It's a colorful name that'll make people laugh and hate me at the same time. And also recognize that I sure to do a good job solving that problem. Because it's kind of bipolar hilarious to call it Homeless Town. Sorry. I'm just saying, in the status quo, we have to deal with how the Supreme Court ruled. The Supreme Court ruled that that municipalities cannot forcibly move homeless people from public property unless they have some place for them to go. In other words, they can't break up encampments, tent towns and stuff. The problem with that is every municipality who then provides housing attracts more homeless people because other municipalities say they have homeless services over there. Go over there for homeless services. They've got great homeless services. And so it's just you end up converting entire municipalities eventually into homeless encampments. All these people waiting for the municipality to build ever more housing for them at the expense of an ever shrinking tax base. It's not feasible or maintainable. So as a consequence, it needs to be federalized. Well, it's not a problem that can be dealt with at the municipal level. It needs to be dealt with at the federal level. It can't be dealt with at the state level either. It needs to be dealt with at the federal level because the federal Supreme Court ruled on the matter.
So, pray.
If the Supreme Court hadn't ruled in the way it had, then there would not be a need for the federal government to take over this matter. But since the Supreme Court did rule in that fashion, there's no solution that's non-federal now. And you know what? I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it's okay that this country has so many homeless people. And I don't think it's okay that we don't find a way to find housing for people who cannot manage to house themselves in some fashion. But the thing is, we should do it in a way that's cost effective and that isolates the burden and doesn't put it onto all of the home full people, right?
Well,
and the way I have it planned, it doesn't violate any rights either. It just says, nobody's going to be forced to go there. The initial plan would simply be that all local homeless services get shut down, and in exchange, homeless people are offered transportation to the centralized homeless service area, and they can take it or not if they want. And maybe eventually, after it's not really a problem, then it just won't be a problem. Or if it continues to be a problem, then at that point, people can start to implement vagrancy laws at the municipal level if they need to, because there is an alternative. They have a place they can go. The municipality can give them transportation. There still won't be any jailing or fining or anything, right? But at some point, if somebody violates enough vagrancy laws and is a persistent problem individual occupying public spaces in an area, then they'll either have to go to jail temporarily, I guess, be arrested, and then put on transportation forcibly in some fashion, I guess. But that's way down the line. I think that the problem can largely be solved simply by making the most desirable place for homeless people to go one place and provide all the services that they actually need there, which is housing, mental health services, physical health services, healthcare or whatever you call it, school for children, the whole 9 yards, because it's still going to be cheaper on the country as a whole than trying to pass the buck down to municipalities in this ever cascading failure of homeless service disasters.
I knew someone at camp who was homeless, and they put him in this place in Brooklyn, and it was a really nice new building, and he felt very lucky to be put there. I personally know someone who definitely uses the federal government for his housing, and now he lives in a nice place by himself, and they did used to check on him and stuff to see that he was he was enforcing, they enforce rules and stuff. They check on you to see how you're doing, but if you do good, you get to live on your own.
My opinion about zoning laws is that they are largely municipal concerns, not federal and not state. So there may be many municipalities that have strict zoning laws, and that may be a problem. But the exact limits of the locality's capacity to control land use is not. I mean, in general, there's not a lot of case law suggesting that municipalities are very limited in their control over that. The thing is, unless they're changing existing zoning things, which would require some sort of eminent domain kind of thing, then they're subject to a certain amount of scrutiny. So I think that localities ought to be constrained in their power regarding zoning considerations. I've not really thought about it before. Really, I guess. I can understand why it'd be frustrating if you want to open a business someplace and it's residential or something, but I mean, I also get it. I don't want a business next door to me.
Yeah, sometimes if an area that has a lot of what do you call it, warehouses and stuff, that's what they do it. They do it in areas like that. So it's not necessarily a great place if you have to commute, but it's
I don't know if he was talking about. I think that was unrelated. I think his only question was unrelated to that.
Oh.
I just want to say, what's going to probably happen is this: the World Health Organization is going to release an urgent announcement. Ebola alert. Ebola is spreading around the globe. And then they'll issue a retraction just a few hours later. Sorry. Those were elbow noodles. We made a mistake. We thought it was Ebola. It was just elbow noodles.
Elbow's the best. I love elbow macaroni.
That's how the similarity gets played out, between your elbow noodles and your Ebola. Sorry, we were just ordering dinner. Our mistake. We looked at the menu, we panicked. We're the World Health Organization. That's what we do.
There's a children's book where there's noodles everywhere. I think it's is it Stregonona? Does anyone know the book Stregonona? I think, and she always makes pasta and then takes over the place. I don't know.
You mean stroganoff?
No.
Stregonona? Well, it's beef stroganoff, which is this German stuff.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. There you go. That's it. Yes. Thank you, Lejo.
I've read that book before. It's a children's book.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of noodles in that.
It's for small children.
It is.
Yeah. They'll be people running from Italian restaurants screaming. And they'll accuse people who are eating elbow pasta of being Ebola deniers.
Elbow pasta. I like to call it elbow macaroni.
Some of the language that I've heard around this COVID shit is just insane. Calling people who are opposed to masks anti-maskers. I'm not an anti-masker. I'm pro face rights. You know, I'm in favor of having rights over my own face. That's what I'm in favor of. I'm not anti-mask. You can put as many masks on your face as you want. I don't give a fuck.
Can I say, shopping with a mask on is fucking hell. My face was so hot from the air of my like breath that like I just like didn't want to shop. Didn't want to shop at all. I'm kind of a mall rat. Thanks, Ike.
Wow, Ike, thanks. Ike's landing with thunder. Strigonona is a children's book and illustrated, written by Tommy DiPaolo. Concerns Strigonona, Grandma Witch in Italian, though it's actually spelled as Nona, her helper Big Anthony. Oh, so there is a book called Strigonona.
Yeah, there is.
What do you know? Yeah, look at that. I'm glad I turned on monetization today. Thanks, Ike. You deserve to wear that tux. Red bow tie and all.
I like that jib too. Thank you.
I like that joke, Winston Small. Did you hear they translated Harper Lee's magnum opus into Mexican? It's called Tequila Sunrise.
Tequila Mockingbird. That's so funny.
Sorry, I fucked it up. Tequila Mockingbird is obviously, it should be a drink now, I think.
Tequila Mockingbird, yeah. Properly.
So okay, I want to transubstantiate a bong rip for Ike.
Yeah.
Who deserves one. Ike, if you'd like to voice a preference, we've got actually at the moment 4 different kinds of weed. We've got foreign glue, which is a Gorilla Glue derivative. We've got the famous Gorilla Glue number 4. We've got grape jelly. Sorry, grape jelly, not apple. We've got jet fuel, OG, Gorilla Glue number 4, and foreign glue. Grape jelly, Gorilla Glue number 4, foreign glue, and jet fuel. Sativa. Well, I guess the most sativa on this is the grape jelly. That's pretty much straight sativa.
Mm-hmm.
This is a straight sativa.
That's what's already in my bowl. That's very convenient.
It's a good smoking sativa too, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. I heard your excitement in your voice when you saw they had it.
Well, it looks so much better than everything else on that shelf, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so by the powers vested in me as the archpastor of the Eulorian Church and also as the archpastor of God's Big Heaven Church, I hereby transubstantiate this bong rip to you, Ike Ogiamian.
That was good bong.
Well, if you aren't familiar with how transubstantiated bong rips work, my lungs do all the processing, your brain gets all the high. So I hope you weren't driving. I should have warned you before I did that, I guess. Sometimes it can cause you to swerve. My torch is bigger than Rachel. It really is funny how it's like Rachel doesn't seem particularly short to me at all. She just, I guess I just don't really differentiate between any like people shorter than me. I just think, well, I mean, the thing is, I so don't notice it that I'll say, oh, look at that. This happened with you the other day, remember? We were at some wall. I said, look at that thing over there. And you You walked up to the wall showing, I can't see over there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can't see over there. It's happened to me before where I've been with short people and shorter than me. And I say, look at that thing over there. And they go, I can't see over that wall. Or that fence or whatever.
So, that's like hold on. Easy breezy.
That's a good cartoon. We're watching another new anime we're watching is this. What's it called? It's about these 3 high school girls making an anime. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, so cute.
It is. It's fun. It's more like an authentic teenagers than other shows. Like
Definitely more authentic teenagers.
kind of got a freaks and geeks kind of thing going on, I guess. But
Yeah.
but Rachel was just singing the theme song to it. Keep your hands off. Keep your hands off Aizukunin. Aizuken. Keep your hands off Aizuken. That's what it's called. Keep your hands off Aizuken. I've watched Jujutsu Kaisen. I've watched all of Jujutsu Kaisen. I have long since completed it. You just can't do anime? You tried? Well, it depends on the anime, obviously. Some of them are better than others.
It's a lot of reading for me, and I'm very visual if it's something new. So, sometimes I'll check out and I don't mean to. I feel so rude. But
Rachel and I are always trying to find reasons to be guilty of some wrongdoing with each other. Rather than the normal way, which is trying to find your partner accountable for something. It's like, because we don't really ever fight, and because, it's not, it's just so there's so little difficulty in anything. I think we're both accustomed to having our chops busted some, or having to bust some chops some, and generally having a somewhat combative relationship, or at least some combat in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I think because we're both really not inclined to actually attack the other person at all, that we almost try to create conflict by blaming ourselves for something so that the other person will get mad at us or something. I don't know. It doesn't ever work,
I know.
I always say, "What are you apologizing for?" And she'll go, "No, you're fine." So I don't know. It's like, for me, SI expresses in some ways, but I see how SI expresses much more fractured ways for her. Like, old habits die hard in an SI front stack person, maybe, but they're aware of the habits dying as they die. Whereas SI backstack, something from the past just kind of erupts and then disappears again. So I think we're both, though, getting accustomed to a new reality that's relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
It takes people. I think it's taken us a very, very long time to really feel comfortable relaxing with each other. Depreciation? Am I depreciating or deprecating? Is that deprecation? No, it wouldn't have an I there. I'm not self-deprecating. I would say I'm self-aggrandizing. Oh, you mean in the behavior I'm describing? Oh, in the behavior I'm describing, I'm self-deprecating, but the behavior I'm currently demonstrating, I'm self-aggrandizing, so it cancels out.
That's so metaphysical of you.
Zero sum, you see.
That's TI.
That's CIFE. Those are the FE. Those are the important FETI calculations I've got to make when I'm when I'm chatting on the live stream.
Can I bring up pop culture?
Okay.
I want to bring up the topic that I talked to you about last night with Demi Lovato coming out as non-binary.
Very interesting. I would love for us to reenact that conversation we had last night, Rachel.
So, have you heard that Demi Lovato has come out as non-binary and will only use, I don't know if it's addressed or will only use they/them.
Right. So Rachel asked me what that meant. You know, like exactly how the varying parties' behavior changed, basically.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it just means that they don't want to be called he or she. They just want to be called they or them. So if you're like, I talked to Demi Lovato and they wanted a cup of tea. And she's like, but so how does it change how she talks about herself? And I was like, it doesn't. Oh, that's an interesting thing to note. Of course, she still uses I and me. So when she says that she will be addressed by they or them henceforth, she's not saying anything about how she perceives herself, really. She's saying, from now on, you will change how you talk.
To me.
Talk about me.
That's true.
Not even to me. Presumably, if you're talking to her, you'd say, Demi, do you want everybody else will change how they talk about me.
So
that's all she's saying. I'll continue to talk about me in the same way. I'll refer to me as I and me, which is gender neutral. I mean, how the fuck did that become normalized?
I don't know.
Right? How the hell did that become normalized? I've already explained my argument against this whole notion is as follows. I will call you what I perceive you to be. I'll call you by whatever name you want to be called by. But if you are what I perceive to be a dude, you want to call you Wendy, fine. I'll call you Wendy. But I will use pronouns as they're meant to be used, which is to say as representations of my perception. So if I perceive you as male, I'm going to use the pronoun he or him. And if I perceive you as female, I'm going to use the pronoun he, she, or her. And how you would like me to perceive you is I'm glad to know that, but I'm still not going to lie to you. So you don't get to tell me to force me to lie to you or lie about you when I'm talking about you. And since pronouns represent my perception of you, forcing me to change my pronouns is forcing me to lie about my perceptions of you. And so I'm not going to do that.
To me, it just sounded, even though I didn't fully understand it until Eric explained it to me, it sounded very arrogant. Like I was like...
From now on, everybody else will speak about me differently, and I will continue to talk about myself in the same way. That's what she should say before, instead of whatever it is she did say.
And that would have been...
That's reality, right? That's the reality of what she's saying, but she doesn't want to position it like that. My FI sounds bad. The fuck? What about my feelings? What about my perceptions? Don't they count too? Isn't the truth matter? Why do you want me to be forced to lie or encouraged to lie? Why does this person's feelings hurt by my not lying at their dictate?
Eucalyptus koala, she came out as non-binary. That's what it's called. And so if I were to ask her a question, right, I'd have to say, instead of you like that cup of tea, I would have to say they like that cup of tea.
Right. But the important thing is, regardless of anyone's feelings, Fate, is that it's critically important that she position what she's saying as the actual truth of what she's saying. She needs to say specifically, I want everyone else to change the way they talk about me, while I get to talk about myself the same way without having to change anything.
Yeah, New Groove.
That's what she needs to say.
Buzzwords just to get like fans from like the LGBTQ community to like worship her. I mean, whatever. Everyone's got their thing.
Whether or not she's pandering, there's no disputing the fact that she's commanding everybody else to change how they perceive and talk.
It did sound arrogant. What's up, 69 Kuda? I really like asking people who say, don't hurt people's feelings. Well, what if not hurting people's feelings hurts my feelings? Seems a bit like a bit of a double standard.
Well, okay. Yeah, look. If they're a masculine woman who you initially think is male, but they're actually female, would you continue to refer to them as male? Probably not. The thing is, where you're going with this argument, it doesn't get you there, because there is fundamentally a difference between actually female and physically altered to physically resemble female, right? So it's a rejection of the fact that there's a part of identity is indisputably part of your physical body that you can't change. That's embedded in your chromosomes. It's a denial of that notion. And a denial of that notion on a metaphysical level is fine, as long as you acknowledge it's arbitrary. And a denial of that notion on a physical level is frankly absurd, and I think not a good decision. But
people are going to make mistakes when they're talking to her. Does that mean she's going to get all hoity-toity like when they make a mistake? It's just...
I mean, yeah. The thing is...
Mac Daddy, we're talking about Demi Lovato coming out as non-binary.
So it's like, the thing is, let's say I knew you as a male and you changed into a female. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I knew you as a male, and I perceive you as a male who's changed themselves physically to look like a female or behave like a female or want to become a female or whatever, but I don't perceive them as what they want me to perceive them as. They can't force me to perceive them as they want me to perceive them as. They might be able to force me to lie.
See, that's like how I feel about Caitlyn Jenner. I knew Caitlyn Jenner as Bruce Jenner. And like, I'm always going to think of Caitlyn Jenner as Bruce Jenner because that's how I knew of him first. Doesn't that make sense? I mean, like, if I'm very FE tool when it comes to this kind of stuff, though. Like, if I was an interviewer, if I were interviewing, I would want to know how Caitlyn likes to be addressed because I don't want to be barked at. I don't like...
The thing is, we use these pronouns when we're referring to somebody in the third person. Well, if I'm talking to Caitlyn or Demi, am I going to use she or her? No. I'm going to say you.
Yeah.
Or their name, right?
Yeah, the name, exactly.
And as I've already indicated, I have no problem with calling person by whatever name they want to be called by. It's basic civil decency. However, pronouns are a different matter. Pronouns no longer represent their perception of them. That's their name. They represent my perception of them. That's my perception, not theirs. They don't get to control it. So you're arguing instead that we should lie for politeness sake. That I should lie about my perceptions because a pronoun is an automatic, reflexive representation of how you perceive somebody. I can choose to make it non-automatic and reflexive and instead represent something other than how I perceive them. But to me, that's lying. I don't want to lie to them. Do they want me to lie to them? Why? Why do they want me to lie to them so badly?
Winston's mom, when I was younger, my grandma told me how Elton John married a woman. And I was like, oh my God, someone who is a homosexual would marry a woman to like hide their, their sexuality. I was like so scared of that happening. I was like, that is such a huge lie. Like you're lying to that person for like so long.
But number one, we don't want to encourage a world in which I get to dictate what everybody else does with their language, while my language doesn't have to change, because that's what she's attempting to do. So we don't want to enable that kind of bad behavior, do we? That's malevolent behavior. That's objectively malevolent behavior. It's what you call wicked or evil or wrong, attempting to control everybody else's language while yours doesn't even have to change. No, it's not respectful. It's disrespectful to everybody to contribute to that behavior, to coddle that kind of behavior, to encourage it or enable it in any way. It's disrespectful to everybody.
I'd rather the truth than the lie.
I have that same issue just about my gender orientation. No, because race is not a real thing. Those are totally different things. I actually am fluidly transracial because race is completely fucking arbitrary to begin with. Nobody can answer any of the key questions about race that would meaningfully answer any identity point that would say this is a concrete binary distinction. In contrast, in distinct, quantitatively objective contrast to sex. Sorry. No comparison whatsoever. None. Zero. One genuinely is arbitrary. That's why I make fun of it by being fluidly transracial. The other, only half of it is arbitrary. The other half is absolutely not. And trying to deny it is pretending to favor stupidity over correctness. And I will not do that. No, sir or madam, I will not. I'm not going to coddle the stupid. I'm not going to encourage the wicked. I'm not going to play hand patty with the evil. The malevolence of this world will face my wrath, as it must, as it shall, as it always will. It doesn't matter if I hurt their fucking feelings. Okay? Their feelings can shove, you can shove their feelings up their fucking feely ass. Okay? I don't care. Zur can shove Zim's feelings up Zur's ass. What's science about it? I have nothing. What's science? What are you talking about?
I never heard about the science.
There's no science of changing people's chromosomes, is there, Fate Wind? You can't change what you were born as. You can change your body a lot.
XI. Daydreaming about pasta is not a bad thing.
A certain way I rant like I just did right there. It's like, right, everybody can identify as anything. I identify as fluidly transracial. And when people call me white, I say, why are you assuming you know what race I am?
Yeah, I really always hated that question on like forums. It was like, come on now, why are we still asking that question?
Because that's stupid and arbitrary, and there's no actual physical component to it. Okay, there's no concrete number of races. Nobody can answer any of the core questions that would make an actual binary distinction that meaningful at all. Okay, so it's no more meaningful than shade of skin. The fact that
Speaking of,
I was joking in the car earlier today that
we're not too far. We're probably like 2 shades apart.
That she's definitely whiter than me.
Yeah. Winston's mom, we were talking about what season. He's definitely Indian summer. He's definitely early summer. So that's probably. I mean,
And you know why
Indians
they call it
early
Indian summer?
fall.
You know why they call it Indian summer? It's because the Native Americans were notoriously bad at telling what season it was. I'm just joking. Just another of my hilarious Native American
really
jokes.
Funny.
I made that joke earlier to Rachel in real time, so I was repeating it there, so it didn't have the snap that it otherwise might have.
It was good.
When you typed Erica, didn't you refer to her as she? I mean, the thing is, I referred to the person however I perceived them. And there are plenty of times when you can point to me calling transgender people she, as I did when I critiqued a specific video of Gen X's. Why? Because I perceived that person as a woman. So I wasn't lying. I called her she. I still call her she. I perceived her as a woman off the bat, and that's what I refer to her as. When I refer to that instance, I said, there's this woman, she was testifying at Congress about being the head doctor or something, like her Surgeon General, I think, maybe, or head of the CDC or something like that. And Rand Paul was being a complete douchebag, hammering this person on a bunch of barely relevant questions about transgender. And I was like, what the fuck is he hammering her on these questions about? Well, of course, it turns out she was transgender, right? Well, okay, the point is, I don't care. If you pull it off, fine. I'll call you a she and refer to you as a her and a she. If you don't pull it off, I'm not going to. If I perceive you as a woman, I'll refer to you as her or she. And if I don't, I won't. And it had nothing to do with what you want. Right? I mean, I didn't think immediately. I immediately perceived her as a woman. I did not perceive her as transgender when I saw her. I just thought she was a manly looking woman. In general, if I see a manly looking woman dressed like a woman and sort of curved like a woman, I'll assume they're a dudely looking woman. By and large. I'm not going to jump to a conclusion.
Talk about accurate.
And I did not even, the fact that Rand Paul was questioning her about all this transgender stuff made me be like, why the fuck is he hammering this one issue so much? It didn't even occur to me until I was told that she was actually transgender. So that's what I'm telling you, right? It's like, what didn't happen in my experience of that event? I didn't experience anybody trying to compel me to use one pronoun or another. It naturally occurred. I mean, you shouldn't. I mean, the thing is, the problem with perceiving me as something other than an ENTP is, well, but cognitive function stack is, it's a good question. It really is a good question. While a cognitive function stack is not as binary as sex, it certainly has a much starker reality to it than, say, race. And I think it's not yet binary. At some point, it will be able to I mean, the thing is, the problem with communicating that is it's like, it's more like this. The equivalent would be like this. Let's say I perceive somebody who's clearly and obviously a very womanly woman, who self-identifies as a woman, who's never been identified as anything but a woman, who everybody identifies as a woman, and who all common logic would dictate as a woman, and I continue to perceive and insist on calling her a man. That would be the equivalent. And that's just, at that point, you're what's called arguing from the margins. which is to say, it doesn't defeat the key point, right? It doesn't. I mean, yeah, I do think type is binary. I don't think that I can prove it's binary right now. But do you think you can prove it's binary right now? I don't think I can. I'm already in a relationship. The answer probably is no, 69Q, because I have ontological considerations as well as logical, which is to say, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that piece of knowledge. I am a map-based person, right? No, I wasn't saying something else a second ago. I was saying exactly what I just said. I think it is binary, but I mean, at the moment, it's not really. It's like in terms of what I suspect or what I believe or know versus what I can defend are two different things, right? It's like what I can believe and what I can defend is that is not exactly that it's binary yet, but that it's a lot more definitive than something like race. If a person with a long beard wears a dress and talks feminine, which pronoun would you use? I mean, I might default to them if I really didn't know, which would seem polite. But note, again, that would naturally occur. It wouldn't be dictated to me by others. That's the key point. That's the key distinction. I have no problem with using pronouns that naturally occur. I have a problem with being told which pronouns to use by a public figure like Demi Lovato, who's dictating to everybody else when they speak about her that they change her language about her, while she concurrently does not change the language about herself because she's still using I, me, myself. So we need to understand that that's what's being asked. Don't try to wrap it as something else. Yeah. Don't try to wrap it up as some other package. Note what it really is. My position is everybody else should have to change how they talk about me. Well, I don't have to change a damn thing. That's what they're arguing. You get what I'm saying? Who you say you are should have a variable in how people get to call you or identify you as. Others shouldn't get to determine the full extent of who you are. Well, okay, I agree there's some wiggle room there about certain things. And the things about which there are wiggle room depends on whether they are based in anything objective or not. So should people get to call themselves whatever race they want? Yeah. And should it be equally bullshit for everybody? Yeah. So whatever you call your race is just as true as my fluidly transracial identity. No more or less true. In fact, if you call yourself Chinese, that's no more or less true than me calling myself fluidly transracial. As long as we agree on that, we're fine. No problem. The issue is the individual overstepping the individual's bounds and trying to dictate to every other individual how they perceive, talk, and think, while making no obligation to change on their own part concurrently. It's deeply offensive, right? It's back fucking words. If you want me to perceive you as a woman, don't tell me to. Be womanly. Right? If you can't sell it, fuck off.
I think it is an FI thing, Mac Daddy. I think Demi Lovato may be ESFP. I'm not really sure, honestly. I really don't know what type she is at all. I know she's gone through a lot. So
I assume I sucked.
I used to watch a lot. I used to read a lot of blind items. Blind items are like little like gossip factoids without the actual like celebrities' names in them. And a lot of these times, like on holidays, these blind items would be revealed. and one of them was about Demi Lovato, and she had a coke problem when she was like on the Disney show or Nickelodeon show, whatever show she was on in like when she was like 16. So like she's been like going through a lot for a long time, and I feel for the girl. I do. But I did think that it was when I heard that she wants to be referred to as they or them, I was like very confused, and it just sounded arrogant to me. It didn't sit well, so that's why I asked Eric about it.
Look, the thing is, I'm not somebody who expressly wants to be rude and get in somebody's face about something, or insist on calling them when they don't want to be called or anything like that. As I've already indicated, I'm happy to call somebody by their name, whatever name they want to be called, whether it's Wendy or Window, fine. Whatever you want to be called. I hired for the person who made my my rooms for back when I was originally on GoToMeeting. He made this app that automatically recorded the conversations that were going on and uploaded them to YouTube for me, and I paid him to make this thing. And anyway, he was transgender, and his name was Tiffany. I always call him Tiffany, but I also always refer to him as him. I was there for the process, so it's like when I hired him, he was just starting to be transgender, but he hadn't done anything really more. And I don't know. I think he got boobs eventually, and then I don't know if he got his junk cut off or not. But regardless, the point is, that I was not remotely in favor of like giving him shit or whatever about it. I had to deal with what I think a lot of people deal with, which is concerns like, is this really wise? Now, you might say those concerns are somehow old-fashioned or like hate-based or something, but they're not. Maybe they're old-fashioned, but maybe it's forced a lot of SI. I felt worried about it. I thought, should you really do this to your body? That was my FI feeling about it. But I certainly respect the fact that people who go through with that have obviously faced a lot of honest, well-meaning concern from loved ones probably already, plus some kind of hateful anti-trans stuff from other people. They're making a decision that's not easy to make. It takes a lot of courage to go ahead and follow through on it against all that opposition. So, I don't want to pile on it all. I don't want to be part of another problem that's worse than the problem I'm articulating. But right now, the problem I'm articulating is the problem I'm articulating. And it's a specific problem that's distinct from the other problems that you might mistake as sort of anti-trans stuff or whatever. If you want to generate a lot of anti-trans feeling, try to force everybody to change how they talk and think. It's a good way to generate a lot of anti-trans sentiment. From just a purely pragmatic standpoint, it's not going to play out well. From a TI standpoint, it's completely fucking bullshit. And so it's just FI that's clinging to this notion that because it's nicest, we should do it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there you have it. You know, it's like the problem that FI people have around me is there's a lot of well-practiced FI arguments that usually work against a lot of people. They never work against me. And I lay the lumber where it deserves to be laid. And it's pretty hard to walk away from this not being convinced. There's got a pretty damn good point about the whole thing. You know, very balanced perspective and correct about everything. So it's just how the cookie crumbles.
I feel very cocooned by my femininity.
Rachel's not very masculine.
No, I'm not masculine at all.
There's nothing
It's
masculine at
sad.
all about Rachel.
You know what's the saddest thing? Watching me do push-ups. It is sad. No upper strength whatsoever. I am like so feminine. But I embrace it, and I'm straight, and I am proud of that too. Like, I know that's like not like PC to say, I guess. I don't know. Like, I've told people that I'm straight, and I get like confused eyes, and I'm like, am I not allowed to say that I'm straight? Because I am.
Well, you know, Rachel, I don't want to tell you this, but when you're sleeping, sometimes my inner woman and your inner woman get it on.
Oh wow, I don't
Good
mind
scissor.
that. That must be nice. It's like anime, woman on woman, but like.
Does it mean you're effing inferior? I mean, it would suggest that you are a mapping type rather than a territory type. So if you're a territory type, you're caring about the person's experience in real time, and you're thinking about that when you're thinking about this issue. Like, okay, well, but imagine the person's experience. You're just being rude. You're not being considerate, blah, 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 right? But from a mapping perspective, it's offensive in the sense that it violates basic rules of mapping. That, in other words, one person doesn't get to dictate to everybody else how they talk and think. And so it's going to be offensive on a frame level, right? It doesn't matter how much it might seem like the right thing to do on the territory level. If we allow that to set precedent, then it becomes a mapping standard, and we don't want that because, of course, it doesn't validate if you extrapolate out and treat it as a mapping standard. You can't have that kind of standard to have things work. Just like COVID, right? Where you can't have somebody turn something into a very scary kind of ghost and have the whole world fucking lose their mind and go completely illogical. If you allow that to be the precedent, that's how we do things, it's just, then you haven't learned a goddamn thing. He's as weird as snake suspenders, but sweet as a stolen kiss too. Robert A. Heinlein.
I've never heard that name before.
All human behavior, all human motivations, all man's hopes and fears were heavily colored and largely controlled by mankind's tragic and oddly beautiful pattern of reproduction. Talking with a Martian is something like talking with an echo. You don't get any argument, but you don't get results either.
What does he call it? Food for thought?
I guess through progress, the difference is whether the kiss was actually stolen or just borrowed. If it turns out it was just borrowed, then I guess you're fine.
Don't forget to bring it back. That's what I learned from borrowing clothes.
I grok in fullness. Yeah. I grok them, yeah.
Yes.
Can we all agree right here and now to grok them, yeah?
Yeah, you grok them, yeah, indeed. Fuck yes. I love it when your 8 comes out. Well,
As
literally
for,
when your 4 comes out.
as for logic and internal consistency, these mundane rules do not apply to sacred writings and never have. Well, that's true. That is true. Winston's mom is quoting some good quotes from Robert Heinlein, I must say. Very good quotes. And, that's the case. That's why you shouldn't try to present your magical thinking frame as sustaining logically. So it's like when people try to insist that no, my religion is objectively true, logically defensible fashion. So you really don't get the idea of faith, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to end this stream. Are you ready to end this stream?
Yeah.
Cool. Goodbye, my friends. Thank you, Ike, again for your beloved donation.
Yes. Thank you.
Remember, faith is a behavior, not an affirmation. There's no reason to think that because you engage in something like prayer that requires faith, that therefore you agree with statements that would predicate that behavior or something like that. Those are totally different realms of experience, and there's no reason to apply that kind of metric in adjudicating your own faith-based behavior. So, leaving you with that positive note of preaching, Rachel and I bid you a very warm and friendly adieu. Right.